of the program. We're 100 years ahead of establishment science. The stuff that normally is understood by guys in universities, you know, on the street. Rich says we're 100 years beyond that. And he says, you know, we could take E.T. home. Now, movie was out at about that time, and you know the story from E.T., a little dude says, E.T., go home. E.T. wants to go home. Rich says, we can take E.T. home. Now, then Rich has been dead for 10 years, for God's sake. I knew another Lockheed Martin scientist who has passed away, a guy by the name of David Froning, who worked with Lockheed Martin for, almost 30 years. I invited David to speak at a conference in Phoenix some years back. Wendell Stevens and I put on a program, and we got a hold of Froning. We knew he was brilliant, and we knew he had been on the inside of research at Lockheed Martin for so long. And we got David to come down and speak at our conference there in Phoenix. And he was getting up in years. David's gone home now. He was getting up in years. And he shared some things with us. Excuse me here. I didn't want to put my posterior here to the audience, but I don't know how else to do this. I gotta. God, they got me so wired up here. Anyhow, Froning said, you know, Bob, he said, I've been retired now for 10 years. He says, before I retired, I was in the Advanced Systems Division of Lockheed Martin. And we were dealing with something we called modified field propulsion. A variable field, he said. Of course, he began to lose me immediately. I didn't get what he was talking about. Matter-antimatter conversion. Exotic field tension. Wormhole. He said it will modify time and space, and he says we have had transluminal flight for over 30 years. And I had to stop again, and I says, hold it. Transluminal, hyperluminal flight. I says, you're talking about faster than light, for God's sake. He said, yeah, we've had it now for 30 years. Now this is from David Froning, who'd spent, you know, biggest chunk of his life as an advanced systems engineer for Lockheed Martin. And then we get the material from Ben Rich. And somebody said to Rich, he said, Ben, what the hell are you really talking about? He goes to the blackboard. His big dinner for retirement, I think, was one of the major hangars over there. Blackboard, he goes up and he writes, unfunded opportunities. They say, what the hell are you talking about? He takes a chalk and he circles U, F, and O. And then he left the stage and walked out the door, and they're all thinking, good God, what this man's lost it here. Unfunded opportunities, UFO. What he was inferring and saying literally in their face, yes, we have reverse engineered technology from alien craft. And we're flying it, and it works. And we can take E.T. home. Now, one of the reasons I get so ticked off, you have to forgive me here, I'm getting old. I don't have the patience I used to have. The rumor has been going around that I've turned out to be a mean, rotten old fart. Cynical, grumpy. Well, that's not entirely true. I like to think, as Henry Higgins said, that I have the milk of human kindness by the quart in every vein. But I can't really pull it off. I guess I am getting kind of grumpy in my old age. Guys, I'm getting angry. I really am getting angrier every day when I think about the con job that's being pulled on you and 300 million other Americans. on a daily basis where they are literally conning you to the point they're taking you to the cleaners, they're stealing you blind, and then they're lying to you about it. And I have a list of, I call it my pissed off list. You know, when you're old and you're sitting in retirement, you have to spend your time doing something. So I prepare this list. Top of the list are politicians. And I say repeatedly that you guys have the best Congress money can buy. That bunch of clowns in Washington who think of themselves, call themselves Congress, we should build special prisons for them. I'm serious. I think about half of them should be put up in front of a judge and sent off for 10 years. Because they're a bunch of damn thieves. Not only are they molesting children, and what the hell, the governor of North Carolina, South Carolina, big scandal, his love affair is in Argentina. The hell with his wife and kids, his love affair is in Argentina. And then we've got congressmen who are guilty of the same thing. Some of them are gay, and I'm not putting them down because they're gay, I'm putting them down because they lie about it. Well, as I say, guys, we've got a mess of clowns back there. What is it, as Will Rogers said, the most permanent, ongoing, continuing, self-continuing program in the world of liars and cheats is the United States Congress. And Will's been gone for a long, long time. So I get my dander up. I vent my spleen when I come and talk to guys like you. And I will say this to you, at the next election for Congress and the next one for the president, think carefully about what clowns you want to send off to Washington. I mean, examine them carefully, because they're supposed to represent you. And they're not doing a very good job of it. Okay, now, excuse me, I do have a tendency to ramble a bit because I got so damn much to cover. Oh, yes. One of the top of my lists is NASA. You know that crowd? Never a straight answer? NASA. This Newsweek came out a couple of weeks back. I'm sure most of you may have seen it. This is a shameful issue. This is a shameful article. In search of aliens, it says. And then it says, NASA is out there looking. Now, while I was in Spain, the Spaniards asked me, you know, just as I was going over there, we were celebrating 40 years of Apollo 11. Gee, that was something, wasn't it? We put a couple of guys on the moon. We're patting ourselves on the back and we're tooting our little horns. Wasn't that great? Wasn't that cool? Weren't we special? And I had to say to some of my Spanish friends over there, you can never trust this damn bunch over at NASA. They did go to the moon, but that was only half the story. The story was what they found when they got there. And the story was what the photographs taken. Now, you probably know this, but in case you don't, I'll tell you again. NASA admitted about 2 years ago, I think about 2 years back, that they had inadvertently erased 40 rolls of film from the Apollo program. And that release went out over the media, and Congress didn't say a word, no peep, no poop, nothing. The media itself, they reported it and off into the wind. NASA says we inadvertently, mistakenly, gee, we're sorry, we erased 40 rolls of film from the Apollo program.